how to rebuild body trust, one small, simple act at a time. And this is about going from listening to responding. Your body changes incredibly after 50. And what used to work doesn't work. You eat the same, you move the same, you sleep the same, and suddenly your body feels like, well, it's inhabited by the alien. And the alien is not exactly easy to understand what it wants. For midlife and menopause women, that feels confusing and, quite frankly, unfair. You wake up thinking, whose body is this? And when did whatever it is take over? But here's the thing. It's not a betrayal. It's communication. Last week, we talked about listening, hearing those quiet signals instead of bulldozing through them. And if you missed that one, no worries. You can go back and listen to it later. This episode stands all on its own because today we're taking the next step. But trust, how does that begin? Listening is where the connection begins. And trust comes through the response to the listening. This is about any friendship. And just think of any friendship that you have. If a friend says she's thirsty and you ignore her for long enough, then she's going to stop talking to you about it. Your body is no different. You respond to drink the water, pause, stretch, and breathe when your body's telling you. You're basically saying to it, I hear you, I'm listening, and I got you. And that's where self-trust starts, not through overhauls and punishment, but through quiet, consistent follow-through. Small, simple acts repeated often. How does this actually work? And why do such small acts make such a big difference? So let's look at this a little bit closer and look at what really is going on underneath. So your body and your brain are constantly messaging each other back and forth. There's this conversation, and it's really chemical messaging that happens. When you act on this message or a cue, say it is that you drink water, you get a spark of dopamine from your brain that built in, yes, that felt right. When you ignore the cue, cortisol floods in. That's a stress signal signaling that we're not being heard. We need to turn up the volume. Repeat either of these patterns often enough, and your nervous system starts to take notes. Responding lowers tension. Ignoring raises it. Each small and simple act teaches your body when you follow through. She's reliable. And this is not just fluff. This is actually neurobiology. Consistency wires the stress loop. Your body stops embracing the, I'm getting ready for a crisis and starts experiencing and expecting care. And that shift shows up everywhere in your body and even in your relationships. Your mood is steadier, your thinking is clearer, even your posture says, I'm okay, I'm here. Confidence isn't just mindset, it's chemistry practiced daily. So let's talk about how you bring this into real world. The simple, small acts that quietly rebuild trust. It can be through movement. A 2-minute break dance between Zoom calls. Your body feels good. It's moving. Nourishment. For example, add protein to your coffee instead of skipping breakfast. Rest. Take that 60 seconds before a task. Just close your eyes. Take a breath. And then go on. These small steps have an enormous payoff. And I'll tell you about Ricky. Ricky, every afternoon, she grabbed a snack. It was carbs, and it could either be sweet or salty. Didn't matter what it was, because at about 2 o'clock, she knew she had to push through the day. She thought it was hunger. One day, we were talking about it, and I asked her to pause and ask, Are you hungry or are you thirsty? And when she did this the first couple of times, she didn't get an answer. But she decided to test it. So when she got this message, she thought she was hungry. She said, let me test out the water. She took a drink of water and then waited a little bit. And she felt better. Now, she could have asked herself, was that what I needed? But not all of us have that conversation going on. Some of us need to actually wait a little bit and see how we feel. How does it feel in my body? So this for her was the beginning. She now knew that she was thirsty. She was not hungry. Her body had been saying it all along, but she got the signals mixed. So now she practices a little exercise that she does on a daily basis. She asks, for example, am I hungry or am I thirsty? She tests it out. Example, drinking water. She listens and then responds. And she did this over and over again until it became second nature, that she didn't have to break down each one of those tasks independently. She began to understand what it is that her body is asking her for. She built trust through awareness. Let's talk about Lynn. Lynn was newly diagnosed with diabetes. She wanted to understand her body, not to replace the glucose testing, but to recognize what her numbers were and what it meant, to tie that back to her body. So we turned this into a little bit of a game, like a mystery, almost like a treasure hunt. So I asked her to track when she actually had a high sugar, to kind of go back through and look and see and feel what was going on in her body. And what she noticed is that when her glucose was creeping up, it showed up in one of her eyes. It made it puffy and irritated. And this was the eye in which she'd had an injury many years previously. Now, she's not replacing using her glucose meter, but she's using this as an added communication piece. And now, instead of being in fear about what's going on, she feels like it's more of a partnership, that her body isn't betraying her, it's guiding her. It's communicating with her as to what's going on. And that's what curiosity does. It transforms control into collaboration. And now for my favorite part of this, micro expressions of joy. When you start responding, your body just doesn't calm down. It lights up. Your brain and your body begin wiring together again. And the old saying, what fires together, wires together, that's an old saying in the neurology or the neuroscience area. If you haven't heard it, don't worry, it's kind of a niche. You can think of it, if we do it in kind of a more normal everyday conversation that we think about it, it's like when you flip on a light switch. You flip on the light switch, the light goes on. So what happens is the action wires and fires with what is seen. So flip the light switch, the light comes on. You begin to tie those two activities together. And the same thing happens with us as we begin to notice those things that are going on in our body. But in particular, it happens a lot with joy. And when we experience joy, it changes everything in our body. Joy is that moment of illumination. It's that spark when your body and your brain say, yes, that's it. And it can be simple things that start that, little micro expressions of joy. For example, in the morning when you have that steaming hot cup of coffee, taking a second and just smell it and recognizing how good that's going to taste and how good it's going to feel in your body and how warm it is. How grounding it feels to just take a pause. Or it might be when you feel the sunlight on your face, or that sigh that happens after a stretch. These are micro expressions, and when you enjoy it or feel the release associated with it, In a way, it's a micro expression of joy. It's simple, small movements that tell your nervous system, I'm safe, I'm seen, I'm home. You don't need big fireworks. I mean, fireworks are great, but let's start small. Savor a sip. Enjoy a sound. Take that breath. Each time you do this, you strengthen the line of communication and you remind your body that you matter. And your body responds with energy, ease, and that quiet inner yes. Joy isn't fluff, it's feedback. It's proof your system is in sync. The light staying on a little bit longer each time. So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of trust, and it's a collaboration. Most of us spend decades, myself included, trying to control our bodies. Okay, we need to eat less, we need to move more, we need to push harder. I need to finish this before I go do anything. But control is rooted many times in fear. Collaboration grows from respect. When you stop micromanaging your body and start partnering with it, everything changes. Eating becomes nourishment and enjoyable instead of a negotiation. Movement is a celebration of feeling your body and how it moves instead of punishment. Sleep becomes restorative rather than something that you have to allot time for, because if you don't, you'll really be upset about it. It becomes, this is something that I get to do for me. And that inner voice, the one that's the words, why can't you figure it out? Why aren't you listening to me? Changes to, hey, you heard me. You felt me. You understand what is going on. So you can try this by placing your hand on your chest, on your cheek, wherever feels natural. Take a slow breath in and just exhale. And thank your body for getting you this far. It's a gift. Things like this, simple things, tell your nervous system that we're in this together. And that is what body partnership looks like. It's simple, it's honest, it's kind. And the gifts that it gives are tremendous. Being able to do, for example, you might want to go on a vacation and walk around streets all over a city in London or Europe or wherever you want to do. Or it might be you want to ski cross country or downhill or go rollerblading. Or it might be you just want to have the energy to help all of the people that you want to help through your business or through your volunteer work. And when you start practicing these small acts that are easy and simple, then that's when the magic happens. You say yes to rest, yes to energy, yes to joy, and yes to life again. And yes is where we're all headed next. We want to be heard. We want to be honored and build momentum. And that all starts with your body and building that collaboration. So that's it for today. See you next week. Bye for now. That's it for this reset. Grab your free gift, your Midlife Superpower, 5 simple power moves to feel like yourself again. The link is anagelesslifecom/superpower. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
I'm Michelle Abraham, founder of High Vibe Podcast Network, and we're honored to have Diana Debbie's show, Midlife Reset, as part of our network family. For more inspiring shows like this one, visit highvibepodcastnetwork.com. And don't forget to grab your free gifts from our hosts in the gift vault. Stay high vibe and keep sharing your life.